Right now at 6 on 4029 News, high-profile protesters are in the state's capital today calling for a stop to the 7 planned executions, the last-minute efforts to spare the inmates' lives.
And the start of the weekend looks great, dry, a little bit warm. The end of the weekend, we could be seeing some rain chances. We'll tell you more about that coming up.
Plus, one local school district dealing with a gnat infestation.
I understand the frustration of the parents and the students and the staff that's having to deal with this. It is truly an uncomfortable environment.
Tonight, we're hearing from school officials and parents.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 6.
Breaking news right now, an Arkansas judge has granted a stay for the execution of Bruce Ward, an inmate set to be put to death on Monday. Good evening and welcome to 4029 News, everyone. I'm Paige Proisey.
I'm Kelly Johnson. Today, protesters took to the steps of the state capitol in a last-ditch effort to try and stop those planned executions scheduled to begin, as you mentioned, in just 3 days. One of those protesters was Damian Eccles. He was one of the West Memphis Three, convicted of murdering 3 8-year-old boys in May of 1993. Eccles was sentenced to death in 1994. He spent 18 years on death row before he took an Alford plea in 2011. That plea released him from prison and allowed him to maintain his innocence. Today, Eccles is an advocate for the wrongfully convicted and is very much against the death penalty.
And that is what brought him to today's protest. 4029's Brett Rains spoke with the man. Here's his story.
Today, Damian Eccles told people at the rally that the upcoming executions are nothing more than state-sponsored murder.
This is something that I'd kind of been terrified of for the past 2 weeks. It's something that's kind of hung over me like a sword.
In Arkansas, Damian Eccles is still considered a convicted murderer, even though he's always maintained his innocence.
Yep, I still have a criminal record in the state of Arkansas, yes. Whenever we got out, we were not exonerated. We had to take something called an Alford plea. It means that you get to maintain your innocence while accepting a guilty plea. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Today, his friend Johnny Depp was by his side.
I followed him all the way to here. Because I'll follow him anywhere.
Eccles spent nearly 18 years on death row, time spent with many of the inmates who are said to be executed.
Death isn't the answer. You know, we've seen statistically, people say they don't want their tax dollars going to keep someone in prison for life. Well, it costs more to execute someone than it does to keep them in prison for life. All I'm saying is there's another way. We don't have to kill more people to teach that killing people is wrong.
And today, the Arkansas Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty submitted more than 150,000 signatures to try and petition the governor to stop the upcoming executions. But a spokesperson for Governor Asa Hutchinson told me the petitions will not impact his decision to move forward. In Little Rock, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
All right, Brett, thank you once again. Then we know an Arkansas judge has granted a stay of execution for Bruce Ward, an inmate who was scheduled to be put to death on Monday. Eccles, by the way, doesn't live in Arkansas anymore. He now lives in New York City.
And again, those executions, as you mentioned, set to begin on Monday as 4029's Una Lee gives us an overview of all the crimes they're convicted of.
The state of Arkansas set the executions for next Monday, Thursday, and the following Monday and Thursday. Don Davis is scheduled for execution April 17th. He is convicted of killing 62-year-old Jane Daniel of Rogers in 1990. He stole items from her house and her husband discovered her body in the basement. Bruce Ward is also scheduled to be executed on Monday. He is convicted in the murder of an 18-year-old convenience store clerk in Little Rock. His attorney says Ward is unfit for execution, citing his mental illness. Stacey Johnson's execution is scheduled for next Thursday. He is convicted of murdering a woman in the presence of her 2 children in southeastern Arkansas. She was beaten and strangled. Her throat was cut. He was denied clemency by the Arkansas State Parole Board. Liddell Lee also scheduled for execution next Thursday. He was convicted of killing a woman in her Jacksonville home. He was also convicted of raping 2 women. Jack Jones Jr. has been on death row for the rape and murder of a bookkeeper and the beating of her 11-year-old daughter. Jones is scheduled for execution April 24th. The Arkansas Parole Board did not recommend clemency for Jones. Marcel Williams is also scheduled for execution April 24th, and like Jones, Williams was also recommended no clemency. He was convicted of kidnapping, raping, and capital murder of a 22-year-old mother of 2 in North Little Rock. Kenneth Williams is guilty of murdering 4 people. He received the death penalty, though, after escaping prison to kill a farmer and a delivery driver. The parole board did not recommend clemency for Williams. He is scheduled for execution April 27th. Jason McGehee was also scheduled for execution that day. The parole board, though, recommended that he be granted clemency, in which a judge blocked the April 27th execution date, so McGehee would have the 30-day commenting period as required by law. Yuna Lee, 4029 News.
And one more time, as we mentioned just moments ago, our breaking news, Bruce Ward, who Yuna mentioned in her story there, was an inmate scheduled to be put to death on Monday, but a judge has granted a stay for that execution. 4029 News going to bring you continuing coverage as Arkansas prepares for these planned executions, so make sure you stay close to 4029tv.com this weekend for any new developments.
New tonight, we know a 61-year-old man was arrested after the search for an armed suspect last night. Police say officers responded to reports of a man holding a woman hostage on South Buchanan Avenue in Fayetteville, demanding that she give him money. Officers arrived and found a woman with a stab wound on her hand. She was then taken to the hospital for treatment. We know that a man named Wiley Lee was later arrested at his home, and he now faces charges of kidnapping, aggravated robbery, second-degree battery, and 2 counts of aggravated assault. He is due in court on Monday.
Also new tonight, a local man is in jail. Police say he hurt 2 people in a shooting and also launched a standoff with police that lasted some 4 hours. The Benton County Sheriff's Office says 27-year-old Keelan Osborne barricaded himself inside of the an apartment at Fairway at Lost Springs Apartments in Little Flock early this morning. Officers say they found 2 people with gunshot wounds who were taken to a hospital and are now in stable condition. The Benton County SWAT team used gas to try to force him out. Osborne is now facing 2 charges of attempted capital murder.
New on 4029 News, one local school district dealing with a gnat infestation tonight. We have 4029's Chris Swain live for us now outside Lowell Elementary School. Chris, can you tell us what parents are saying as well as school officials?
Well, they're very concerned, obviously, about their children being around so many bugs. School officials tell me they're working to solve the problem, but say it could take some time. This is what the kitchen at Lowell Elementary looks like right now. Fresh concrete, new pipes, and bags covering the equipment here. Officials say that gnats have infested abandoned pipes in the kitchen and have now grown out of control. Courtney Payne has kids that go to the school. She says it has gotten so bad that the school now buses in lunches because the kitchen is shut down.
He's constantly swatting at gnats at lunch because when they open the seal, or even if they bring a lunchbox from home, the gnats are everywhere.
The school district thought they solved the problem.
We thought we had located the source of the problem several months ago, and we actually busted up yards of concrete in the kitchen area at Lowell where we thought the source was coming from, and did a lot of treatment there.
Lee tells me that the lifespan of this particular gnat is 28 days, so they gave it time to see if the gnats would die off. After they persisted, the school ran cameras down the drain lines and found what they believe is the source. Lee tells me these are drain lines that have no connection to the water line that goes to the drinking fountains or sinks.
Drinking fountains, sinks, things like that.
No.
Is there a concern there?
No, there's no concern there. Those lines that are tied into in terms of water lines are fine. These are drain lines, so it's a drainage issue. It's not a current water line issue.
Parents we spoke to are concerned about their children's health.
Have you heard of any people getting sick because of this or anything like that?
Well, that's a fear, you know, because a lot of kids, I mean, they're sick all the time, but you don't know if it's from the gnats or if it's just kids, but that could be a fear.
Lee says there is not a huge health risk.
And we've done research. While they are extreme pests, we know that extreme nuisance and not a good environment. You know, fortunately, there's not a huge health factor there or risk there, so we're fortunate with that. But
Lee says there's currently no plan to cancel school here. They have exterminators coming in after hours to try to maintain the problem, and they're going to work to continue to get this problem fixed over the next couple of weeks. Live in Lowell, Chris Swain, 4029 News.
Let's hope they do. Chris, thank you. Well, school officials tell 4029 there are 30 days left in the school year, and that is a little more than the average gnat lifespan.
Well, Easter, as we know, is coming up in 2 days now. Unfortunately, we may be dodging some showers throughout the day on Easter Sunday. For more on our forecast, let's send it over to 4029 Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Now, we're going to start off the weekend great. I mean, on Sunday, the better rain chances coming Monday. And, folks, next week, we could be talking severe weather. We'll tell you more about that coming up.
Well, happening right now, we are bringing you a live look at the Christ of the Ozarks, the statue in Eureka Springs, the largest statue, in fact, of Jesus in America. The Passion Play opening day is actually on May 5th. It's been performed in Eureka Springs since 1968, but there are other events happening, including an Easter egg hunt, that's tomorrow, and a sunrise Easter service that's in front of the Christ of the Ozarks on Sunday.
And also want to bring you a look at some of the Good Friday services that are happening in our area tonight. St. Thomas Episcopal Church in Springdale is having a service at 7 o'clock. St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Fayetteville also having a service at 7 tonight. That's going to be followed by a fellowship group meeting. All Saints Church in Bentonville has a bilingual service beginning at 7. And St. Stephen's in Bentonville will be having a Good Friday service in Spanish. That's going to start at 7:30 tonight.
Lots of good options. Well, meantime, tensions escalate tonight between the U.S. and North Korea.
That's right. Coming up here on 4029 News, what each side is saying about the other.
But first, a live look outside tonight on this beautiful Good Friday. This is in Fort Smith, where the temperature right now is 81 degrees. We'll have a check of our official Get Ready weather forecast and traffic. Stay with us.